Water. Water is one of those things that, well, everybody needs water, so we just never really stop doing water. I'm pretty proud of this guy. I built this this water wagon. I think this is iteration 3 of what I've done. It started out with hauling an IBC, which was a pain because if you start hauling stuff around with a truck or a tractor, if you haul enough times on the ground, it just winds up jacking up the ground, compacting the soil, and killing the grass there, and I don't like to do that. So I wanted something smaller I could haul with a gator. So I built a water wagon, the first one that I had to haul around with the gator. The issue with the gators is that they're a belt drive though, and with the belt drives, I chewed through a couple belts on a John Deere Gator real fast. It just wasn't going to do it. So we made the investment in the RTV. It is definitely an investment, but the RTV is essentially a small tractor. It's that Kubota sitting right there. It's the Kubota RTV 1100. And those things have a hydrostatic transmission, which just means they have, it's not a belt drive, it's like an actual real transmission in it. So it's diesel, it's got torque enough to pull a car, literally. I've pulled my truck with it, and it can haul a huge amount behind it. So if sustainably, if you're gonna pull something, it also has 4-wheel drive too. I can pull 1,000 pounds or more all day, up hills, down hills, around with this thing, and it won't hurt it at all. Gator, not so much. 4-wheeler, our 4-wheeler can pull this thing, but again, it's a belt drive, it's not gonna like it. But anyway, to the water wagon. So I found these little YuTrax trailers, and my first one I think I got it for 250 bucks on Craigslist. Brand new, I think they cost like 600 bucks, somewhere in there. And this is the situation that I found that works out the best. So I guess I'll start, at the tip and go to the tail on it. But the ball coupler is definitely the way to go. The stock trailer tongue that comes with these, frankly, is garbage. So I think it was 1.25 inch, so I welded square tube that had 3/16 wall on it, and it kind of slipped right over that 1.25 inch square tube, which is nice. Of course, I need to get it painted, but that makes for a super rigid tongue. And I think when they originally rated the trailer for 1,300 pounds, I think that was the limiting factor, or one of the main limiting factors. It's not the axles, they're pretty beefy. We actually snapped off the tongue on this thing originally, so we put that on, and it's holding up real nice. Even though I'm a pretty cruddy welder, I do have to say I'm pretty stoked with how that thing's holding together. I did put a trailer jack on it so that, when this thing's fully loaded, it's, 1,100 pounds or so. Putting a little trailer jack on there, again, I welded it on, that just makes it stand up so my wife or I don't have to lift up 1,000 pounds on the tongue and try to get it on the RTV hitch. That works out well. This tank is a 150-gallon tank, which in the newer version of these YuTrax trailers fits perfectly in it. So I secured that tank down. I just put some 2x4s, that block we just have there for ballast. I just put some 2x4s on either side just to hold the tank from moving laterally. But it's 150 gallons, it's a Tamco tank. We got it from US Plastics in Lima, Ohio, and it is awesome. I mean, it fits perfect. It just sits right over the axles, 150 gallons. That's enough to fill a few water troughs. It's not bad. This little pump I got from Amazon, and I think it's like a sprinkler pump, and it's pretty darn cool. So it runs off of 115 volts. I plumbed it in with brass fittings to a bulkhead connector that I put in the bottom of the tank, and I mean, these things just work great. This thing sits out in the weather all day long, never have an issue with it. And then just bought a cheap hose holder and some U-bolts from Home Depot. Kind of put that baby on there with some U-bolts and an old hose, and we're good to go. The thing though that really makes it work well, we used to haul around a little Honda generator with it for the power, for the pump. Honestly, this guy right here, it's a DeWalt power pack. This thing's awesome. So we've got 4, I think these are 10 amp hour batteries on it. This thing puts out 15 amps of power, and we use it every single day, and we don't have to recharge it, which doesn't take that long, maybe an hour to get full capacity. We don't have to recharge it for a few days. So it's a lot lighter than a generator. It doesn't weigh nearly as much, so it's easier for my wife to pick up. And we toss this thing around like crazy. I mean, it's awesome. So for portable power, we get 120 volts, 15 amps out of this guy. We like it quite a bit. So I don't know. I've probably got I think the tank was 300 bucks. Trailer, let's say, is 500, so 800. I think the pump's like 100, 900. Parts and labor, I mean, 1,500 bucks maybe for a really, really, really bulletproof water hauling system. It's not bad. I'm pretty stoked about this whole thing, and it's better than what we had before, which was one of these YuTrax trailers with some plastic barrels that I got at US Plastics in their discount bin for. So, hey, you know, I'll take it. You can spend as much money on farming as you want, and that's a great way to go bankrupt. It's an interesting balance between spending money on the things that matter, and you know, the question you always have to ask yourself is, in what I'm spending money on, is it going to make me money by either saving time, increasing productivity, or increasing yield? And you got to be creative. So shop the bargain bin, locate your local suppliers for things like plastic tanks, for example. Shipping plastic tanks is stupid expensive. So, you know, figure that out. Sometimes it pays to spend some money and buy something like an RTV and use that knowing that that's going to be a force multiplier for you, or buying a tractor or whatever else. Joel Salatin talks about this, having your force multipliers. But, you know, other times we go and we make our own stuff, and I do my own welding, and we repurpose things and repaint things, and that's the way to go. We're in the business to make money. We're not in the business to spend money. But like I said, you can spend as much in farming as you want. Just hope you can make profit on it.